I'm Gabriel Abelido,
And I am Rika Bisunga.
and I'm going to discuss about RAM.
And I am going to discuss about the CPU.
First of all, the memory and the RAM are only one. The RAM stands for Random Access Memory. So, what is memory? Memory is the electronic holding place for instructions and data that your computer's microprocessor can reach quickly. The function of memory is to hold data and instruction for processing. Memory stores program also for the instruction. The RAM has two parts, which is static RAM and dynamic RAM. So what are the differences between the two? Static RAM, bit of data is stored using the state of a flip-flop, faster and requires less power than DRAM or the dynamic RAM. Often use a cache memory for the CPU. And now the dynamic RAM. Dynamic RAM use a translator and capacitor pair. When we put together, it comprises a memory cell. What is capacitor? Capacitor means it holds a high or low charge. How about the translator? Translator is a switch that lets the control circuitry on the chip read the capacitor state of change. Addition in the dynamic RAM is the predominant form of a computer memory used in modern computers. Static and dynamic RAM is considered volatile as their state is lost when power is removed from the system. The memory has three types: DDR memory, DDR2 memory, and DDR3 memory. So what is DDR memory? Used if your computer is old, able to transfer data twice as fast as its predecessors. Transfer a speed of up to 3.2 gigabytes per second and use improvements in terms of memory speed. Now let's go to the DDR2 memory. DDR2 memory data transfer rates of up to 8.5 gigabytes per second. It offers dual channel mode. And the DDR3 memory. A new computer probably uses a DDR3 memory. Operates at a lower voltage and uses less power. Transfer data up to 12.8 gigabytes per second. Operate in dual channel and triple channel modes.
So how does the memory work? So the memory stores all the data. If the user needs something, the memory will be the one to do that. It will store all the data so that you don't need to search it. But if there's no current, all the data stored in the memory will be lost. So first, let me introduce to you the CPU. The CPU, also known as the Central Processing Unit, is a small silicon chip which runs the whole computer. It is also known as the microprocessor or processor. So there are three types of CPU. First is the single-core CPU, which is the smallest unit available. It is usually found in smaller appliances that only perform a simple set of actions such as a remote control or toy. The second type is the dual-core CPU, which contains two command units and contain enough power and memory for most personal computers. So the third type of CPU is the multi-core CPU, which contains multiple command units. They are mainly used by industrial, electronic devices, servers, and network workstations. So there are many parts of CPU. First is the control unit, which supervises the operation, fetching software instructions from memory and coordinating the order these instructions are carried out. The second part is the instruction decoder, which deciphers the instruction it receives from the operating system and application software and performs various calculations, comparisons, and computation in its arithmetic logic unit or the ALU. So the third part of the CPU is the ALU that can perform addition, subtraction, division, and multiplication, as well as comparing greater than, less than, or equal to conditions. In addition to that, the processor has a program counter which tracks new tasks as they are picked up, although certain instructions can cause CPU to execute jobs out of sequence. So what is inside the CPU? Inside the CPU are registers, which are special storage locations. The data they contain can be accessed much quicker than other memory. They either store the computer's current instruction or in the ALU. The accumulators store the results of operations being calculated.
How does CPU work? All hardware components and programs installed on a system must go through the CPU before the function can be carried out. The function program or piece of data is in the RAM, and when it calls the CPU pulls it from RAM. Before sending it back to RAM, the CPU reads the instruction associated to the task. The instructions that the CPU receives, it is all about calculation and data transportation. The data must travel first at the system bus before it is executed. CPU guide the data through the system bus to process by the CPU. With every step on the system bus, the CPU makes sure that the data gets there in the correct order. That's all. Thank you for watching. Once again, I'm Gabriel Aberido.
And I am Rika B. Sunga.
Thank you for watching.
Bye!